What if simply asking the wrong question could cost you your life? Across history, people weren't always killed for crimes, but for ideas, for speaking, for teaching, for knowing too much. Tonight, we're diving into the dangerous truths, the forbidden thoughts, and the powerful knowledge that got people executed. Knowledge is often praised as power, but throughout history, knowledge has also been a death sentence. Not because the knowledge itself was evil, but because it threatened someone in control. Kings, churches, governments, even gods. They have all feared one thing: people who think differently, people who question, people who expose uncomfortable truths. Let's look at some of the most chilling examples of forbidden knowledge and the price paid for it. Socrates. Socrates didn't write books, he didn't lead armies, he didn't call for violence, he simply asked questions. In ancient Athens, Socrates walked the streets and spoke with everyone: politicians, students, ordinary citizens. He asked, what is justice? What is truth? What is goodness? And the more he questioned people, the more uncomfortable they became. Why? Because his questions exposed ignorance. They revealed that those in power didn't actually know what they claimed to know. The authorities accused Socrates of impiety and corrupting the youth, but in reality, he was teaching young people how to think, not what to think. That was dangerous. Rather than silence himself, Socrates chose death. He drank poison calmly, believing that living without truth was worse than dying. His crime wasn't forbidden knowledge, it was forbidden thinking. The Dark Ages. During the so-called Dark Ages, knowledge was tightly controlled. Books were rare, most people couldn't read, and religious authorities held enormous power over information. Some monks and scholars noticed something disturbing. Ancient texts had been altered, edited, selectively copied, not to preserve truth, but to control belief and behavior. Exposing this meant challenging authority itself. Those who tried to reveal manipulation were seen as threats, not because they were wrong, but because they were right. At the wrong time, to question sacred texts was to question the entire system, and systems do not like being questioned. Many of these truth seekers were hunted, silenced, or executed, their names erased, their ideas buried. In this era, knowledge wasn't just power, it was rebellion. Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was young. She couldn't read. She wasn't trained for war, yet she claimed divine visions and led armies. That alone was enough to terrify those in power. Joan didn't just challenge military authority, she challenged social order. A woman wearing armor, giving commands to men, claiming direct contact with divine forces. It broke every rule of the time. Her knowledge wasn't scientific, it wasn't political, it was symbolic. She proved that power didn't belong only to kings or priests. The court accused her of heresy among other charges, but at its core, her real crime was proving that authority could be bypassed. She was executed, not because she was weak, but because she was too powerful, speaking truth under totalitarian rule. In many periods of history, especially under totalitarian regimes, truth itself becomes forbidden. When a government controls reality, facts are dangerous. Those who exposed corruption, cruelty, or lies were labeled enemies. Under dictatorships, speaking the truth could mean prison or execution. It didn't matter if the truth was peaceful. It didn't matter if it helped people. If it threatened the image of power, it had to be destroyed. From revolutionary courts to brutal regimes, countless individuals were silenced for saying what others were afraid to admit. Their knowledge wasn't secret, it was simply inconvenient. Asclepius. Sometimes forbidden knowledge isn't political, it's cosmic. In Greek mythology, Asclepius was a healer who could bring people back from the dead. This wasn't seen as a miracle, it was seen as a violation. He disrupted the natural order. Zeus feared that humans would stop respecting death, that balance would collapse, that gods would lose control. So Asclepius was killed. His knowledge was too powerful for mortals. The message was clear: some knowledge is not meant to be shared. Prometheus. Prometheus gave humanity fire. Fire meant warmth in the cold, light in the darkness, protection from the wild. It meant technology. progress, the beginning of civilization. But fire also meant something far more dangerous. It meant independence. With fire, humans no longer depended entirely on the gods for survival. They could cook their own food, forge tools, build homes, shape their own future. And that was unforgivable. Prometheus wasn't executed in the traditional sense. Instead, he was punished endlessly, chained to a rock, tortured again and again, turned into a warning for others. His crime wasn't theft, it was empowerment. He gave humans the knowledge to grow, to advance, to stand on their own. And power always fears growth. It cannot control the pattern behind forbidden knowledge. Across all these stories, one pattern appears. Again and again, people are not killed for knowing facts, they are killed for what those facts do. Forbidden knowledge makes people question authority, breaks social rules, gives power to the powerless, exposes lies, changes the future. Executions were never truly about truth. They were about control. When knowledge threatens control, when it challenges authority, questions power, or exposes hidden lies, it becomes dangerous. Today, we often believe we live in an age of free information where everything is open, searchable, and available to everyone. But history reminds us of something important. The most dangerous knowledge isn't hidden in secret books, locked vaults, or ancient myths whispered in the dark. It's the kind of knowledge that opens minds, that makes people question, that teaches them to think for themselves, and that, even now, can still be deeply unsettling and deeply terrifying to those in power. So the question is not, what knowledge is forbidden? The real question is, who decides? So if this made you think, share it. Subscribe for more stories they never wanted told, and never stop asking questions. Because the moment you don't, someone else decides the truth.